Hey there, welcome to another one of my connoisseur corners. Today we got Ron with us, and today we're going to enjoy some cigars. What do we got with us?
Yeah. Um, uh, you have what says it's a Romeo and Julieta Edition Limitada 2009 from Cuba. I can't guarantee whether it's from Cuba or not, but I've trusted my source regarding these matters. And I've got a Cohiba Maduro Cinco. Both of these cigars, well, this cigar is from about 2006, I think,
Mhm.
and this one is from 2009. These are left over from my previous lifetime in accounting, so I like to bring them out every once in a while. And I thought this would be a good occasion.
Right on. Appreciate that. I did not know that Romeo and Juliet also came from Cuba. They have a Dominic, right?
There are certain brand names like Romeo and Julieta, Partagas, Punch. They're some of the original brand names that started out in Cuba in the mid 1845, 1850s or so,
Hmm.
and during the Cuban uh, the whole thing with Castro when everyone left, a lot of the brand names left with them. So uh, the various factories that left with the brand names migrated to the Dominican Republic mostly, Honduras, Canary Islands, mostly in the Dominican Republic. So there are actually two Romeo and Julietas, two Punches, etc., etc. The brand name also still exists in Cuba. So the Romeo and Julieta from Cuba is different from
That just
uh,
right. Oh,
Dominican Republic, so on and so forth.
yeah, I might actually have to use the lighter and get it
Yeah.
going.
Wind
Match is
ain't,
just going too quick.
yeah,
Yeah.
wind ain't helping us here. But anyway, um, uh, these are I remember these being really good cigars the last time I had either one of them, but they're always better in good company.
Right on. That is true. Oh.
Yeah, sometimes it can be a crappy cigar, but much better with good company.
And this time we're doing the not doing the video shoot down in the trees so you can actually see our faces rather than the shadows. And Ron here is a photographer, so can't be having those shadows in the faces.
Now, so I think the
I
lighting is pretty good here. I hope this works out.
Well, that is the one nice thing about my audience. They have low standards as far as cinematography goes.
Okay, so we shouldn't disappoint them then.
No, I mean I do. I am hoping to change that. I want to get a decent digital SLR camera, along with all the little different gadgets to turn it
Hmm.
into that where you have the handle on the top. And
Right.
been
Yeah, a decent DSLR that should do you fine. Like something that can shoot at a minimum of 720 p 1080 would be nice, but it's just a lot more memory and bandwidth. But um, you don't need anything super deluxe to get a decent broadcast.
yeah, better than the webcam, anyways.
This is fine. It works.
So for those of you who do not smoke cigars, um, these are actually kind of broken down in thirds as far as flavor. Correct? You'll start hitting different notes along the way.
Uh, yeah. Um, the first inch of the cigar is really, where the, flavor starts to develop. Um, can't really, pinpoint how it's going to be until, at least for me, until the first inch is done. Um, through midway of, the middle third is usually, I like them strong, potent, kind of spicy. Uh, And then hopefully the last third doesn't get too thick with tar or bitter. These cigars, as far as I know, the last time I had one of these, I was down to the nub. I needed a cigar roach clip or something to keep it going. Unfortunately, they don't make those things. Or you could be like a hobo and use a toothpick.
Yep.
Yes, but I don't think we have any of those here either.
Hobos or toothpicks?
Um,
I think we got some hobos around here. I may classify as one.
I'm a weekend hobo.
Every other weekend.
Every other weekend, corrected.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. You could be hobo-ish when you're kicking it in town.
Oh, yeah, well, that's how I am over here is pretty much how I am over at home. Home in Babylon.
Well, this is pretty tasty, actually, so far.
Yeah, excellent. That one, I would say, I would call that medium strength. It's not going to be, it's not going to choke you.
Yeah.
And hopefully it won't make your head spin.
Or maybe, hopefully.
Or, well, if some cigars have a little bit of extra nicotine kick that could, if you're inexperienced, it could put you down, make your stomach turn a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
This one should be a little bit stronger than that one. And from what I remember, a little bit sweeter.
Alright, so I wonder how long I can get this ash going today. Remember last time I had a fairly decent one.
Yeah, I like to let the ash go about an inch and a half before I tip it. I've been told or have come to understand that the cigar ash is somewhat like a, I don't know, a thermostat for the tip, or I don't know. Whether that's true or not, it's just...
I have heard that, or read that, I should say, as well. Back in the day when I used to actually smoke a lot of cigars, and I would had all kinds of the cigar aficionado magazines, and fucking reading that. I do remember reading at one time that it is kind of a temperature regulator for the heat.
Yes, I hate to say that these have just been slightly dehumidified. Yours came out fine, but mine is a little bit on the crispy side, and I tore up the wrapper around the head of the cigar a little bit.
So do you think different manufacturers, it isn't necessarily just the humidification that creates that? Because I remember last time you brought Cohibas and they did that as well, and this time it's the Cohibas that's doing that, but the Romeo and Juliet stayed together well.
No, I think it was just my, I guess, sloppiness in cutting, in addition to the cigars just being a little bit dry here in the desert.
Yeah. Things do dry out quick.
Yeah. But these things normally are kept somewhere between 65 and 70% humidity, and hopefully around 68 to 72 degrees of temperature. But
Would be 100 plus with maybe 15% humidity?
Yeah, so these cigars haven't seen the best of it in the last week or two, but oh well, they're still tasty.
Yeah, this is, like you said, a mild cigar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, kind of woody, kind of cedary.
Mm-hmm.
Not really picking up any coffee notes or anything like that. But I will have to say I don't smoke cigars that much anymore. So like I remember being able to look at the magazines, see the cigar, read what's supposed to be there, and then smoking it. Oh yes, I can pick up on these notes, sort of thing.
Yeah, I used to read a lot of those review and tasting notes in the magazines, and then after a while I would well, I taste that, or maybe I don't taste that, or this one got an 89 or a 90 or 91, and I just didn't enjoy it at all. My taste buds can't be the same as these other guys, or maybe I got a bad batch, something. So the longer or the more I got into the cigar hobby, um, I cared less and less about what was actually written about the cigar. But there are some cigars that, especially some of the Cuban ones, and lately, or within the past, I don't know, 10 or 20 years, a lot of the non-Cuban cigars have developed really good reputations and particular tastes or flavors or strengths that these brands are known for. Cohibas, uh, at least Cuban cohibas, when you open a box, they smell kind of grassy or like hay.
Hmm.
Uh, and then uh, and then when you smoke them, they uh, many I think have notes of coffee or cocoa beans or uh, uh, flavor profiles.
Mm-hmm.
All cigar brands have a certain kind of profile that throughout their various sizes uh, of their uh, brand range, they stay fairly close to that flavor profile.
But we did talk a little bit about this, about doing this, so why don't we go ahead and do a 4 questions?
Yes.
All right, so what brought you to Slab City? Or first, tell us a little bit about yourself. God, it's been a while since I've done these.
Well, a little about myself. I'm Ron. I enjoy cigars. Um, I am a freelance photographer and also um, a care provider for the elderly. And what else?
That's all you want to share? That's all you want to share? That works. And by the way, for those of you who are follow me on Facebook, the pictures in the Tantra tent pole photo album were Ron's pictures. He took all those at my place.
Oh, thanks for the plug.
Yeah.
Much appreciated.
Don't have your little copyright symbol thing
Oh,
on the
no,
bottom,
no.
but
I wasn't worried
but
about the whole
definitely
copyright
wanna.
thing. I just wanted to be able to show your place in the best light. I thought we did some really good work that day. It was very impromptu, but I like the way that I was able to show your space. The efficiency, the thought behind the design, and the lighting. I thought looked well. It looked good inside, and then I tried to pick appropriate times to shoot the exterior. And I hope you like them,
Oh,
and
I
I hope the
definitely did.
audience liked them as well.
Cool. All right, so what brought you to Slab City?
Uh, Well, I had heard of Slab City before from, I worked with a writer. We'd done a lot of work for different motorcycle magazines, and he had been here a few times on, I think, at least 2 trips with his motorcycle buddies and incorporated the Slab City visit into a story that got published. And a few years later,
Later.
um,
Is that what you're looking for?
my significant other and better half's son was living out here for a while, and we decided, we'll pay him a visit. Uh, and that was back in March, and there was something about this place, and not just the place. It's a barren desert, but really the people out here. Um, Visiting, that's what initially got us out here, but
All right.
the people keep,
Well, that might come into one of the other 4 questions.
gotcha.
So, what has been your favorite thing about Slab City?
Um, the people that we've met here, there's uh, I don't know. There's a more humanness, I guess. The people that we've found here and continue to find here, they're it's a nice mix of um, openness and uh, accepting and tolerance and respect that I seem to find here more than I experience in a city or urban area. There seems to be a higher concentration of uh, like-minded people here. That okay,
Cool.
I guess.
And then, so what has surprised you the most about Slab City?
What has surprised me?
Yep.
Uh, one thing that surprised me is there are certain groups of people who have, come out here uh, with uh, really strong intentions of, surviving on their own, off the grid, and in a community that gives to each other and helps each other out.
Mm.
Again, something that I don't see enough of back home, and it's fascinating for me to watch the interaction between groups of people, like in different camps, and the social activity, between them, the relaxed atmosphere, uh, and uh, the determination of uh, uh, many of the people out here to build a sustainable, uh, self-providing, and self-helping community.
Right on. And lastly, if there was one thing you could change about Slab City, what would it be?
Uh, hmm. If I could turn the temperature down a little bit, that'd be great. Although I understand in the winter months, which I haven't quite experienced yet, uh, that that might be a little bit, the temperature might be a little bit more
Reasonable,
yes,
hospitable.
yes.
Cool, cool.
But 105 in the shade ain't bad right now.
Now a little bit of wind and
Yeah, a little bit of breeze, and yeah, this little breeze is what do we call wind chill factor here.
Yep.
It's
Well,
much much appreciated when we feel the air go by.
right on. And that is another 4 questions with Kyle.
How's your cigar doing?
It's starting to get into that a little bit more robust part of the cigar.
Yeah.
The wood notes are definitely coming out stronger now, for sure. Still delicious. And as somebody who doesn't smoke, like you were talking earlier about little nicotine kick and stuff like that, I do not smoke tobacco at all. So like I kind of get that little buzz anyways.
Yeah. You'll feel a little bit and
Yeah,
start to feel a little bit more energized.
Yeah, I never really get into the, I'm not feeling good.
I've been told, and it does work. At least it worked for me. In those instances where one gets a slight nicotine overdose, either hard candy or a little packet of sugar will take care of the queasiness.
Right on.
That's only happened once to me.
Did you use the trick? Did it work well for you?
Yes, it did. It was one of those evenings after an ugly day of crunching numbers. I hit the cigar lounge and I chain smoked 2 large cigars, one after the other. The larger one had a little bit more nicotine than I expected.
And that, of course, was the one you smoked second.
Yes.
Yeah.
If it would have been nice if they were first.
After
Yes.
you already had that fucking first hit in you.
Yes.
And of course, and then bam.
Yeah. The sudden onset of nausea wasn't what I was expecting. But,
yeah, I imagine in.
But it didn't come back up, which is great. Pardon me.
It's burning pretty even all the way around. No running.
Yeah, he's got a nice, tight ash, and mine is a little bit looser and flaky, but medium gray and holding. I hear your ducks in the background.
Mm-hmm. Yep, all the time, and they're like, "Come on, isn't it water time, motherfucker?"
Have you seen them yet today?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I go down in there in the morning, and then at night. Sometimes I leave them run around, being a weekend, not so much because of the more tourist traffic sort of thing in here. So stray dogs running around potentially.
Strong coffee bean kind of flavors. That's what I'm picking up right now. I'm pretty well into the second third of the cigar, and I'm burning a little unevenly. I need to touch up one side. And you got a good roll there. Look at that.
Yeah, I have. I get pretty good with keeping the ash burning. I think when I was into it, I remember reading something like you definitely something like you want to take a draw every 90 seconds or so like that.
Yeah, every minute or two. You should be able to put a cigar down for 2 to 3 minutes and pick it up, and it'll still be going. Well, with the humidity where it is, these shouldn't have any problem staying lit.
Oh.
And when finally do tip the ash, you get these nice solid pieces of ash that stay together, unlike cigarette ash that just crumbles and falls apart.
That's because that's just paper.
Yeah, paper and shredded tobacco. These are actual leaves that are rolled together. I always like sniffing some of the smoke from the end of the cigar. It's almost like incense. It's almost time to tip that one. What do you think?
Oh no.
Now?
It falls off naturally.
You're gonna hold it as long as you can.
Yep.
Okay.
I definitely have been one of those it falls off naturally sort of smokers.
A little bit of cigar folklore. According to this book written by Davidoff, Zeno Davidoff, Winston Churchill, before he entered negotiations with another head of state, before his meeting, he would insert a straightened paper clip into a cigar and smoke the cigar during the meeting. And his adversary or counterpart, whatever you want to call him, would watch the length of Churchill's ash on the cigar grow longer and longer, and presumably the other party becoming more and more tense as the length of the ash grew. And I understand.
Is that gonna drop on my carpet?
Yeah, I understand. He used it as I guess, an intimidation tactic.
I am better than you.
Yes, and I could imagine close to the end of the discussions that he would tip a 2.5 or 3 inch long ash after having gotten his way.
No steel paper clip or anything in there. All just, that's it.
Still holding.
Yeah, I found that as long as you're pretty careful with it right after you take your puff,
Yeah.
that stays pretty easy.
Yeah, it's right after you take the puff is when the ash is most vulnerable.
It was bound to come off.
Right as I said it. Right as the end of the puff. Hate it when that happens. Well, it's only ash.
Yeah. Oh no, I have to change my clothes. I got a little bit of ash on me.
Ooh.
Yep. So, getting down into the third of the third.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, starting to get the little nicotine buzz going on for sure.
Yeah, a little lightheaded there.
Yep. But yeah, it is kind of at the area where I want to say it's hot. Is that probably the term that I want to use? That it's kind of covers up the taste because of the heat.
Right. I'll try to take a slower drag so it doesn't heat up so much. It's also because they're a little bit on the dry side. How's yours tasting?
Oh, like I said, the heat kind of overpowers the taste for me at this point in a cigar usually.
All right, well, let it rest for a minute or two, and then we can revisit that.
Oh shit! So we're already 40 minutes in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to fucking edit this. I don't think I can just let it fucking roll. or I can and see how many people I can actually keep going until the end, because Google gives you the statistics of how far people watch
Yeah.
when it drops off.
Yeah.
Things like that. That's why a lot of times I put little clippets at the very, very end.
Yeah. Well, what's your average?
Oh, I haven't been paying attention to that at all, but or in some time. But I'm actually surprised at how many people do actually finish my videos. Like, I was actually surprised, because they try to tell you for, web type stuff, want to keep it short,
right,
punchy stuff like that. Most of my stuff is 12 to 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Well, Ron, I want to thank you for providing the cigars for this Connoisseur's Corner.
I appreciate the invite.
And I think we're gonna wrap the filming part up right now.
All right.
And
well,
I got 50 minutes worth of editing. Anyways, peace, love, and all that hippie jazz.
Send Carl some money on PayPal so he can buy himself something to eat. Then he won't have to sell his body to Albanian men on the street. We're broke hippies living out in the desert, no money and no shoes. And he may smoke the marijuana, but at least he won't spend it on booze.